What role does beauty have in the entrepreneurial small business development process? You may think that design is irrelevant, not really part of your business. I'm here to prove you wrong. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. This is Next Biz Success, and I'm out here in the Hartwell, Nebraska area visiting with Sally Buss. She's a very successful self-employed entrepreneur. She's an artist, and we're going to talk to you today about creativity and design and the ability to extract value from meaningless, seemingly meaningless products or services or whatever, right?
Whatever, yeah.
Sally, welcome to Next Biz Success.
Thank you.
You have a hook out here in the middle of Nebraska. You find a way to turn, they're like discarded metal utensils and implements, farm implements, into art.
Right, yeah.
Tell me what that's about. Where did that come from?
Well, I grew up on a farm. So I've seen these things most of my life,
Yes.
And I hate to admit, whether I really knew what their original intent was or not, I always saw something different. I saw a silhouette or a specific shape or positive, negative space that appealed to me that I could work with.
Yeah, and you've worked with it beautifully. There's sculpture all over your showroom and your farm, and you're now shipping products, or sculptures, all over the country.
Right.
How do you, when you first look at something, how is it that you see the beauty or the economic potential in the product before it's ever been extracted and refabricated and blended with some other stuff? How does that happen?
Well, it's just, I guess I don't always look at everything as it was intended to be looked at.
Yeah.
I'm always seeing something else, or, sometimes it's just the repetition of a particular shape, size, color.
Patterns.
Yep, you got it.
With curves and lines being connected in interesting ways.
Absolutely.
Now, if the average business person that has a less artistic business is watching our video podcast right now, what can they learn from you insofar as seeing potential in discarded things or things that nobody else thinks have any value? What's the lesson you can pass on to them?
Golly, just, see what works for you. And then, build upon that. And that might have to go a couple different directions.
Experiment.
Yes.
Do you spend a lot of time experimenting and trying things, or do you have it already in your head and then you just do it?
A little bit of both. Sometimes you go out to the workshop and you think you know how it's going to run. It's going to just be smooth as silk. And you get out there and, hiccup.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
What are some of the components that actually go in your metal sculptures? What would be the...
I use a lot of rebar, which, when people think of rebar, they think of cement work,
Yes.
but I don't use it with any cement work. I use a lot of disc blades, often implement, sprockets, rake teeth, even old barrels, just everything has a life depending on how you look at it.
And those things are all designed to be functional, but when you put them together in their second life, they have pure artistic merit.
That's what I love. That's my goal.
Yeah, because you touch people, don't you? Do you ever have people come up to you and say, "This is unbelievable," and you're surprising me with delight and all that?
And that just warms my heart.
Yeah.
It really warms my
That's
heart.
probably what gets you out of bed in the morning. isn't it?
Absolutely.
To evoke that reaction in other people.
Yes.
Well, obviously you're a creative person. You spend a lot of time in the right hemisphere of your brain. I think that's the area where you do that. But the left hemisphere of your brain, to be a successful business person, have you had training? Who taught you to do this?
I went to Hastings College. I have an art degree, but I didn't go into business.
Yeah.
And that's been the toughie. To figure out the business side and what components of business are relevant to me and how I can make them work to my abilities, because that's something else. I mean, I'm not an accountant, but I've got to know enough.
And you know a little bit about business. You went to Nebraska Edge training program.
The Edge class was wonderful, yes.
And what was that exactly?
That was basically, for every business, you should have a business plan. Start to finish.
Right.
And it pretty much laid out the floor plan of what steps you need to go through to get that developed. And by the end of the class, we had a business plan.
Wow. Did that give you a great deal of confidence after you saw that all kind of come on?
It did.
Absolutely. Great value to you. Do you follow that plan as you develop your products and keep evolving your company, or do you change the plan a lot?
Sometimes you need to customize it to the situation, but for the most part, it's the backbone. Yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Well, Sally Buss, I'm out here in Hartwell, Nebraska. It touches my heart to see how you've found a way to turn mundane products into profound and beautiful products. Do some people see them strictly as functional things and not art at all?
Sometimes that's the only way to get in the door is, to start with a little function.
Yeah.
But then I hate to say, I like to think I've got some people in training. We'll start out with some function,
Sure.
go a little more artistic, and before you know it, it's totally art.
Can you tell when people are receptive to the artistic pitch, so to speak, as opposed to just replacing some lawn furniture? How do you know? Do you read people?
You have to kind of read people. And depending on their reaction to the work, some people are just totally gravitated to it, as others take a little warming up. And so you have to read that, and here again, some of them want more background information, some of them just accept it for what it is, but you've got to play that out.
Does it intimidate people? Some people aren't comfortable with purchasing art. They don't know if it's artistic or not. Do you warm them up, or do you try to play up the intimidation effect and use that to price up the product?
I want them to feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I want them to see, that it's a lot of my work is not, it's not going to change the world. It's not real, deep thinking. It's off the cuff. It's quick reaction. It's, a simple smile, pleasure, whatever.
Sure.
And that's what I'm after.
Well, Sally Buss, I so appreciate you taking time with Next Biz Success, because I think you do touch us deeply. I think there is an intuitive dimension to what you're doing, and I hope you remember that every day when you go out to your metal shop and turn on the welding machine. This is Lynn Hinderrocker with Next Biz Success. This is a fantastic example. Be like Sally Buss, discipline yourself, but make sure the creativity comes all the way out. Keep on going and keep on growing.